This podcast is brought to you by Flipper, a marketplace to buy and sell websites, stores, and digital real estate. Plot your own path. Become a boss by buying a small online business at Flipper. Simply visit flipper.com/techtalks for a free consultation and 50% off fees. That's FLIPPA, flipper.com/techtalks. If you do visit, let me know how you get on. But now, let's get the show started.
Welcome to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where you can learn and be inspired by real-world examples of how technology is transforming businesses and reshaping industries in a language everyone can understand. Here is your host, Neil C. Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast. Now, one of the things that you all know I love to try and do on this daily show is bust a few myths and misconceptions. And for example, at the beginning of this year, before we all entered lockdown and unable to fly anywhere, artificial intelligence and machine learning and automation were either seen as overhyped or just the latest tech buzzword. But I'm increasingly uncovering real-world examples of why it's dangerous for business leaders to think that way. So today I invited Gary Saranverta, founder and CEO of a company called Daisy Intelligence, onto the podcast to talk about the AI platform that actually transforms massive amounts of data into profitable decisions, but with real-world examples. And believe me, there is some great work that they're doing at the moment. Because he and his team specialise in providing AI technology to help enterprise marketers improve the customer experience, but while driving business growth. And that is the ROI that hopefully will make a few ears prick up. Because global retailers and insurance companies are often drowning in data, and yet they're struggling to gain any practical insight from this ever-growing pool of data, inside of which lies the keys to creating a better customer experience and significantly better financial results. It's a puzzle that we've all heard about again and again and again. It's a familiar story. But with using autonomous machine intelligence, Daisy Intelligence is helping global organizations drive revenue and profit by transforming massive quantities of that consumer data into better and smarter business decisions. And for retailers, it can also transform massive amounts of transactional data to do promotional product mixes and price mix optimization, while taking into account cannibalization, forward buying, stock outs, and so much more. We have a lot of ground to cover today, so buckle up and hold on tight so I can beam your ears all the way to Toronto in Canada so we can speak with Gary Saranverta, founder and CEO of Daisy Intelligence. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Hi, my name is Gary Saranverta. I'm the founder and CEO and Chief Science Officer of Daisy Intelligence Corporation, and we're a company that helps retailers and insurance companies make smarter operating decisions using AI.
Now, I also read that you entered the workforce with an aerospace engineering degree and even trained as a rocket scientist. So I'm sure you've got a few lines or puns that go with that. But I have to ask, can you share that with me today?
Yeah, I have a master's degree in computational fluid dynamics, and in Canada, there was not much of an aerospace industry, so and I didn't want to move to the United States for obvious reasons, even 30 years ago. So I ran into this career of bringing more math and science to big corporations. I was really shocked at how little math and science big companies used, and so I've spent a career using aerospace methods in business, and had some really dramatic economic results doing so. And I think, the branch of AI that is really what AI is really what the aerospace industry does. It's not this computer science dominated conversation that's happening today. It's not a big data. I think it's all a myth. If you look at autonomous robots and what fighter jets do and spacecraft and drones, that's really what artificial intelligence is. And that's the type of technology we bring to the market.
And from there, you became the founder and CEO of Daisy Intelligence. So I've got to ask, what is the story behind the company and indeed those problems that you set out to solve with technology and bring more math into business?
Yeah, so I started after graduating. I worked at a company called Loyalty One that runs a large coalition loyalty program, the Air Miles program in Canada, which you might be familiar with in the UK. It was started in the UK. And I did some analytics consulting. I was one of the first worldwide users of IBM's data mining technology. That was the buzzword for AI back in the 90s. And from University of Toronto, I attended all the machine learning lectures from Geoffrey Hinton, one of the founders of deep learning. And so I'm very familiar with the space, started using the technology. Then I worked for IBM Canada, ran their data mining practice, and was one of their worldwide kind of go-to people for high-end analytics, so one of the experts. And along the way, I realized that machine learning only in its current form doesn't really work to deliver business value. Some of the problems I ran across when I was working at IBM with clients, one of them was fraud in insurance. I thought that was a killer app that, a lot of money being stolen from big corporations through fraud, and it goes to fund pretty bad activity. So I thought that was a killer app. And then with all the work I'd done in retail and the huge volume of data in retail, I thought helping retailers, especially grocers, be more efficient. Those are the two kind of problems that I went at. Eliminate fraud and then make a grocery more efficient and profitable, and ultimately across both of those things. And I've worked in every industry, and our vision is to be in every industry. It's really to lower the cost of living. If we make companies efficient, smart companies will reinvest in price and innovation. And that means the cost of living for you and me gets lower. The cost of insurance goes down, cost of groceries goes down, cost of all retail goes down, and then ultimately will impact poverty and minimize poverty. That's really why I started Daisy.
Now, Daisy Intelligence does provide AI-powered solutions for retail and insurance. But can you tell me a little bit more about how you're leveraging technology to tackle tasks that ultimately are beyond human capability?
Yeah, our technology helps make decisions. It delivers an answer. There's no human in the loop. Our vision is to let people do what people are good at, really elevate the human being. If you think of a fighter jet, the pilot doesn't actually fly the plane. He or she inputs the control instructions through the joystick, rudder pedals, throttle, and then the computer actually moves the flight surfaces thousands of times per second. In the same way, if you look at a retail or insurance, you have to set prices every day. There's millions of prices to set across multiple price zones, hundreds of stores. That's beyond human ability. But the human being can be the pilot. They can set the strategy, say we want to be the best in produce. We want to do a circular and e-commerce website and have ads every week. And so the human sets the strategy and the goal, and then our technology system using AI with no human in the loop will recommend, here's the products you should promote every week. Here's the prices you should charge. Here's how much inventory you should allocate. So the fundamental decisions we deliver and could plug straight into back-end systems with the human just looking at it and providing oversight and approval and exception handling. And insurance, we do fraud detection. So as claims come into an insurance company, identify which of those claims are fraudulent, who are the people committing fraud, are there any networks of individuals committing fraud? So then again, in that case, we deliver the answer. It's beyond human ability to compare every claim to the hundreds of millions of claims you've ever seen, compare every person to every other person in the database, so that this is where the machine does the heavy computing and the human does the exception handling and oversight and approval.
And I'm curious, did your time at IBM's analytics and data warehousing practice, did that help you see the art of the possible for businesses in the future? Because it's a bit like that Steve Jobs quote that you can't actually look forward, but it's only when you look back and join up the dots that you see where things began to take shape.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my whole career, starting out in aerospace and then working in the IBM machine learning, seeing big scale data warehousing. You can't do AI without managing data. So Daisy, we have a data warehouse in a box. It really manages our customer data automatically. And I learned that machine learning in its current form, this kind of predictive analytics, deep learning, doesn't really work for very complex problems. So, tie all those threads together: aerospace engineering, managing data warehouses, doing high-end analytics and machine learning and neural nets, and then tying all that together to say, okay, my experience has really led us to where we are today, which is this autonomous decision-making for business.
And to bring your ideas to life, do you have any use cases or maybe examples that you can share with us today that highlight how AI is an indispensable tool for data-driven businesses? Because I think it's a subject I think most leaders are exploring at the moment, but just to hear some real-world examples would be great.
Yeah, so in the case of retail, for typical clients, so in the U.S., most retailers still do paper circulars. I know that circulars in the U.K. are less, likely in less adoption. But in the U.S., so we help our clients, decide what grocery products to put in the weekly paper flyer. And so, we'll tell them, put milk, bread, eggs in the front page of the flyer. Here's the prices you should charge. And, retailers do that on a weekly basis. And they also plan their e-commerce. So we help them decide exactly what products to put on the e-commerce website. And so these weekly cycle, and based on choosing a better combination of products. And the key thing is the combination, because products are related. Customers don't buy products, they buy solutions. In grocery, meal solutions, and in apparel, clothing solutions. And so by choosing the optimal combination, we grow sales. So on average, for our customers, we've grown total company sales by 3 to 5%. So if you're a multi-billion-dollar company, the results are quite dramatic, and that allows the retailer to be more competitive. That would be an example of a use case. And our system does that. We deliver the answers every week. It's a weekly planning cycle. And for our clients, we deliver those decisions every week. And the example in insurance would be on a daily basis. We get claims data from our insurance companies, and we identify which claims shouldn't be paid because they're fraudulent, which claims should be altered because they don't comply with the rules or policy coverage. And so that's kind of auto adjudication. So on a daily basis, claims come, we return them back and say, here's how you should process them, again, with no human in the loop. And then we recommend some for human review. And that's a daily cycle. Every single day, our AI keeps putting out answers, and we help our insurance companies avoid millions of dollars in fraud every day. And we help reduce the wasted time in false investigations. A lot of the investigative human bandwidth is time wasted because most of the things they look at end up being okay. And our system has a better rate of uncovering fraud and lowering what's called the false positive rate. So those are two examples.
I've had countless emails from listeners over the last few weeks talking about their fears and concerns around job security, while also seeing their interest rates on their savings drop considerably. And as a result, many are beginning to look at how they can invest in their future in an uncertain time. Could digital assets be the answer? Now, you might remember that I spoke to Blake Hutchinson, CEO at Flipper, on episode 1194 about how to buy digital assets and websites. In a nutshell, Flipper is a marketplace that you can buy and sell websites, stores, and digital real estate that are just ready to go. So if you do have dreams of running your own successful online business, or perhaps you're looking to exit your existing online business, my friends at Flipper can help you buy and sell. So if you're interested and want to find out more, please visit flipper.com/techtalks. That's FLIPPA.com/techtalks for a free consultation and also 50% off all fees. But now, back to the interview. And I think what really stands out around Daisy AI's platform is how it transforms a massive amount of transactional data. Do you have any examples of how transformational that could be for retailers, especially if we have anyone working in the world of retail listening to this podcast?
Yeah, so the data we use are the transaction receipts. So literally every single product purchased, you get a paper receipt from a store or an electronic receipt from a website. We take several years of that data and have billions of transactions. Our system, actually, we have a mathematical theory like the laws of physics that exist independent of the data. And then from the data, we learn all the patterns. It's like when customers buy a ground beef or mince, what else do they buy with it? So we look at the patterns of what are the related items to every single item. We look at what are the items that are choices. If a customer buys brand A, which brands go down in that case? So it's cannibalization. And we look at pull forward, when something is on sale, a customer buys 2 or 3 weeks supply. So those are the patterns that we learn from the years of data, learn the seasonality, what products are bought at Christmas or Easter or in the middle of the summer versus the middle of the winter. So, what's the effect of price elasticity. So all of these common things that every retailer knows to be important, our system learns that from the data. And that's really, beyond human ability to go figure all of that out, even beyond if you had 1,000 analysts with a laptop and data science software, you could not go figure this out because there's billions of interactions between products that change every day. And that's what the technology does. And so that's really, really transformative to be able to make sense of all the transaction data that retailers collect. And really, it's the voice of your consumer. We listen to what 100% of our clients' consumers tell them that they like to buy, the prices they like, what they like to buy when, and I call it extreme personalization.
And by using autonomous machine intelligence, you're actually helping global organizations drive revenue and profit growth by transforming massive quantities of consumer data into better and smarter business decisions. And I know, again, that is something that so many businesses are chasing at the moment, and data-driven decisions are so important. But is there anything else you can share around that would just bring that topic to life with any real-world examples?
Yeah, I think the key thing is to deliver a decision, and that's what our system does. It's not about only insights. Yeah. And so, for example, if you were to make an Italian dinner and promote ground beef, customers buy pasta, tomato sauce, bread, cheese. Those are the combinations that are bought. And so we know that if you promote ground beef, you don't have to promote all the related products. So we see a lot of companies over promote an event and they promote all those halo items, and so that's inefficient. So we would say promote the core item only, and all the halo items get bought along with it, and that's where some of the efficiency comes out of. And so that's the key: deliver the decision, and then you have to keep the human beings engaged because people don't like a black box. So then we share with them what are the learnings over time. For one of our clients, we said that when you put products on the landing page of your e-commerce website, it works best when the price point is less than $5. And they said, oh, that makes sense. And so that way you're kind of educating the people along with letting the machine do the work. And that builds trust between the people and the machine. And so those are some of the key things: deliver the decision, but also train the people to say, here's the kind of general learnings that the system can deliver as well.
So what's next for Daisy Intelligence? Where do you go from here? I appreciate you probably can't share too much, but is there anything you can share about that road ahead?
Yeah, we continue to grow. I mean, we've we currently have clients in 5 countries, in Central Europe, in Canada, the United States, and Latin America, in New Zealand. So we continue to grow. We have channel partners around the world who are helping resell our technology. So I think we'll continue to grow. We're raising more capital, which will help accelerate growth. And so I think what you'll see more and more of Daisy in more countries. Our customers will continue to grow, and post-COVID world, we're certainly coming up some new solutions like assortment planning. Retailers are readdressing their assortments. In insurance, the focus on automation and increased concern about fraud. Again, in a recession and depression post-COVID, those things are expected to rise. So I think for us, our opportunities, although I don't wish COVID would have happened, for our company, the things we deliver, this post-COVID world really kind of lines up with our capabilities. So we expect rapid growth around the world over the next several years.
And you did mention that post-COVID-19 world. I'm curious, are you seeing technology such as AI playing a significant role in a time of crisis? Because it feels like these emerging technologies are really beginning to step up. And I know many businesses now taking automation, for example, seriously that weren't before. But are you seeing that with AI?
Absolutely. I think in a post-COVID world, hopefully, this is showing that technology can play a role as we overload the people who work in companies, retail operators. We know e-commerce volumes have gone through the roof. The availability of product and supply is challenged. And all of this additional workload can't be handled by the people in the building. And it's not practical to hire more and more people. So I think using AI to increase automation, take some of the tasks away from people, not replace the people, elevate them to be the boss, focus on the strategic activities. I think that's where this technology and automation can play a big role in helping companies succeed and become more pandemic proof next time. Using traditional predictive analytics or even deep learning, when you have this huge anomaly caused by COVID in your sales data, you need real AI based on the technology like Daisy has, based on reinforcement learning or optimal control, where we don't need gigantic longitudinal histories. We can learn from what's happened yesterday. So having technology will help companies be more robust and survive other crises, which I'm sure will happen in our lifetime again of different sorts. And so I think technology will play a key role in the coming months.
Well, a huge thank you for joining me today, Gary, and sharing your insights here. But for anyone that would like to carry on this conversation we started today, what's the best way of finding out more information about Daisy Intelligence and indeed contacting your team if they've got any questions?
Yeah, go to our website, daisyintelligence.com. You can also look up me on LinkedIn, and my contact info is there. I have a unique spelling of my last name, so Gary Sarenvirta, SAARENVIRTA. And you'll find me. And if you heard me on this podcast, just reference the podcast and say, hey, like what you had to say, would love to connect. And so those are two great ways to reach out.
Excellent. Well, I'll have links to the blog posts that will accompany this podcast just so people can find you nice and easily. And I think before lockdown and before COVID-19, I think artificial intelligence and AI was seen as a bit of a buzzword. So what I love more than anything about today's conversation is you prove that AI technology is there to help enterprise marketers improve customer experiences while ultimately driving business growth. And if that doesn't show you how much it's outgrown that buzzword status, I don't know what will. But more than anything, just a big thank you for sharing your story with me today, Gary.
Great, thanks. Really enjoyed our chat.
Daisy Intelligence is recognised as one of North America's authorities on artificial intelligence, and Gary obviously is a passionate evangelist for the application of AI and reinforcement learning in strategic merchandising decisions. What I love about him as well is he's not afraid to challenge the status quo when it comes to the advantages of deep learning over those traditional approaches to data mining and analysis, both in speed and precision. But the biggest takeaway for me is forget the buzzword bingo. Gary has been on this podcast today providing real-world examples of how AI is an indispensable tool for data-driven businesses. So the only question that leaves me with, and hopefully you, is how is your business going to use that tool? And that's where I want you to share your insights and expertise too. So please email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, tweet me at Neil C. Hughes. My website is techblogwriter.co.uk. I'm the easiest guy in the world to find. So keep those messages coming in. And a big thank you for taking the time to tune into this Daily Tech podcast. I appreciate it more than you will ever know. But hopefully you'll join me again tomorrow. So thanks for listening, and until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for listening to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast with Neil C. Hughes. Remember, technology works best when it brings people together.